on this. We have elected these people to represent us and govern in our name and deliver what we, the people of the United States and here in West Virginia, need. We need help from our pandemic. We need help from racial injustice. We need help from the climate control that is devastating our country right now. People, we need H.R. 1. We need a fair democracy. We need our senators to work before this recess. We need them to make sure that they get this done before they come home. We have speakers today that are going to speak on this, and I am very proud to be a part of this. We have first on our agenda today, Natalie Tennant, former West Virginia Secretary of State, who is going to come and express her views on this. Natalie.
Good afternoon, everybody. How we feeling? All right. Thank you, Miss Karen. Thank you all for being here. I just want you to know, you know what the date is. It's August the 10th, and guess what? The For the People Act is still alive and still going, thanks to your perseverance and your willingness to stand up for what is right. It's what we've been doing all summer long, haven't we? Yes, we have. We've had ups, we've had downs, we've had good news, we've had bad news. And here we are again, outside Senator Manchin's office, encouraging, cajoling, praising, and thanking Senator Manchin for listening to the people of West Virginia and acting with his compromise of For the People Act. He knows it's so important. He knows that poll after poll show the majority of West Virginians want what is in this piece of legislation. They deserve it. They want equal access to the ballot. They want that equal access across the country. No matter where we're from, no matter how much money we make, no matter what our background is, we want our voices heard. Quite frankly, we know we deserve to have our voices heard. And that's why this bill is so important. It gets rid of secret money. We've been together, folks, in the heat, in the rain, and Sally, I'm going to say it again, we'll be in whatever weather, whatever condition it takes. You know why? Because we're making our voices heard out here. And what secret money does is they can sit back in their air-conditioned offices and write these big checks. They can make big commercials and fancy commercials and try to drown us out. But that's what For the People Act will do. It will get rid of that. So that's why we're here today also. And Karen talked about it. August 12th is now the date for us, isn't it? The census numbers come out, redistricting can start then. That's what's important. That's why this timing is so important now, before you go to recess. Now we know that they're working right now. They just passed the infrastructure bill, right? So it's time for the people. And here's one thing that concerns me, and I know that this fires me up, and you guys know it every time I talk about it. The Putnam County Clerk said on the news that, you know, just one of the provisions in For the People Act, like same-day voter registration, he said, well, how can we have that? That wouldn't be fair to the people who've already been registered to vote. What a shame of a statement, because that means that they're trying to pit voter against voter, or it's first come, first serve, or you're picking and choosing. Well, yeah, that is a problem, folks, when you're picking and choosing who gets to get registered to vote. That's why we need For the People Act. That's why we're out here. That's right. And that's why Senator Manchin's proposal is so important. And that's why we're asking Senator Shelley Moore Capito to say, come on, we want bipartisan help here. Help Senator Manchin. Manchin. So, I talked about the infrastructure bill. Later this week, we think we're going to have a procedural vote on For the People. Now, the procedural part may not pass, but that doesn't mean the bill's dead, and that certainly doesn't mean we're gone, does it? We're just fighting harder. It just means we'll work a little harder. We've done it all summer long. It just demonstrates that the people who care about voting rights have given the opposition, and mostly the Republican opposition, a second chance to come to the table. You know, when Senator Manchin first said he wasn't for this bill, everybody's like, all right, well, Senator, tell us what you are for. And that's where the compromise came around. And that's all we're asking for now. We'll work harder. We'll have a procedural vote. If it doesn't pass, it's not dead, and we're not giving up. So that's why I'm asking here. That's why I'm out here in the heat and the rain and whatever it takes to make sure that folks know we are here, and we're here for the people and for the People Act. Thank you, Ms. Mayor.
Voting rights now! 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 I tell you, we are here because the vote is so important. I am a child of the 60s, and I remember when we signed the Voting Act of 65, but now we're fighting against so our children can continue to vote. Right now, we're going to have Corey Brown to come forward, a youth organizer with Young West Virginia Forward. Let's make sure our young people have the right to vote.
Hello everyone, I'm so happy to be out here today in West Virginia. My name is Corey Brown. I'm a 21-year-old college student at West Virginia State University. Born right here in West Virginia. It's no secret that young people like myself find it difficult to build in this state. Like many of my peers, my political engagement is new, but we're learning. We may not know everything, but we know enough. We know that our ability to advocate for the future in state, we want it dependent on our ability to participate in democracy. Senator Manchin, we ask you to protect our most fundamental right, our right to vote. Thank you all so much.
All right, let's do this for not only the older people in this country, the established people in this country, but for our young people. We have to make sure that our democracy is here for them. And we also have Kiana Thomas, young organizer, West Virginia Forward, Voting Rights and Youth. All right, Takaya, come on up here, the executive director.
Hello, everyone. Appreciate everyone coming out tonight, today, in the night, the rain. It's been months since we've been out here, and we're not letting up now. My name is Takaya Smith, and I am the organizing director of Young West Virginia. We've spent the last several months facilitating actions around the For the People Act and the expansion of voting rights. We shouldn't be here, but we are. Earlier this year, hundreds of voter suppression laws were presented and some were passed. This was sparked by falsehoods about the security of our election. I understand that no matter where you fall on the political spectrum, how important it is to know that our democracy is safe and fair. We all want that. In West Virginia, conservatives, people who are often, not always, have opposing views from myself and our movement, took sweeping wins across the state. Many candidates that our movement believed in lost. Although it was disappointing, that's the way our democracy works. We educate, we organize, We connect with people who share vision, who share values, and we do the work. But we do not shut out people and resort to Jim Crow era tactics. That is what we do not do. This sets a dangerous precedent for all Americans and all West Virginians. Senator Manchin, Senator Capito, you've expressed respect not only for our democracy, but our culture. Here is your opportunity to be on the right side of history. We ask that you support and pass the For the People Act, the John Lewis Act, and DC Statehood. Thank you so much.
I swear that's like a metaphor.
All right now. For the People's Act. Say it. For the People's Act. For the People's Act. For the People's Act. For the People's Act. It sounds like we're here to get into some good trouble. Some good trouble. I tell you, I've looked up to this man for years. As an educator, he was willing to step out, speak up, and step out for what was right for teachers, for students. And we're going to have Fred Albert, president of West Virginia AFT. So I'm so proud to have him to come here and speak out and step up for the People's Act.
Thank you, Ms. Karen. It's my privilege to be here today. I first want to thank Senator Manchin. I was in Washington, D.C. last Tuesday, and the senator was gracious enough to meet with me and about 8 other voters from around the United States of America. And notice I said the United States of America. Our vote is what unites us. Our voice is our vote. Our vote is our voice. And it's the way we exercise our voice, by being able to vote. But Senator Manchin was gracious enough to meet with us. And he came out and met with us on the steps. He met with us virtually. But he listened to the stories of these people from across the United States. And one story was from a lady who has served in the military. She now is out of the military, but she told the senator that she and her husband had to stand in line in Georgia from 9:15 in the morning until 5:15 that evening in order to cast their vote. They had no food, they had no water, they stood in the heat and then in the rain, but they were determined to make their voice heard and to be able to vote. So I do appreciate Senator Manchin for listening to us. We're now asking him to vote, along with Senator Capito, to vote for the People Act. You know, this is the 21st century, and we should be making it easier, not more difficult, for people to exercise their right to vote. This is our voice. Listen to our voice. Our vote should count. Every vote should count. So we're here today asking for the People Act to be passed. Let's do it. Our democracy depends upon it. It should not matter where you live, your zip code, or the color of your skin. You should be able to vote, and your vote should count. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Our vote should count. Every vote should count. We should have the right to vote. And at this time, Dale Lee, president of West Virginia Education Association, is here with us. I'm so glad to finally get to meet you. Come on down here and talk about what it is that we need for this country. Thank you. I'm glad you're here.
Thank you. Thank you. It's an honor to be here. I'm Dale Lee, the president of the West Virginia Education Association. And we all know that the right to vote, is a fundamental right in this American democracy. And protecting that right should not be about party or politics. It should be about democracy and moving forward having every voice heard, not just those who are willing to pay the most. Every voice needs to be heard. We have to protect that right, and it should never be done in a partisan measure. That's why we believe that the John Lewis Act has to move forward. Senator Manchin has been one that is pushing that. It's time for Senator Capito to make this about West Virginia and about the United States and not about partisan politics. Today's debate should be about how to best protect our right to vote and to how to hold elections, and not about what's best for a party or an incumbent or somebody that's already in office or spends the most money to get there in office. We in West Virginia value our vote, and we don't want the politicians in D.C. to say, well, I don't think your vote was right, so we're going to renege, we're not going to count your presidential election or anything else. We have to put those laws aside. We have to make sure that one vote, one person, every vote counts, and we have to make sure that this is done in a partisan measure. As Fred Albert said, thanks to Senator Manchin, he's pushing forward to this. It's time for Senator Capito to get on board too. Thank you for the opportunity to speak.
We've heard some powerful speakers today. And I tell you, in preparing for this afternoon, I thought about many cliches that we say in this country. We say one nation under God, don't we?
Yes.
We say His truth is marching on. I thought about the values that I was raised on. I thought about the pride that I had instilled in me about voting. I thought about my teacher training and the nearly 4 decades of teaching that I've dedicated my life to. I thought about how we had recess, but we finished our work before we had recess.
Yes.
We took care of business. We completed our work. Our tasks were finished. There is a big looming lie that prevails in this country. It influences the work that needs to be done in this country. The lie affects our health care. The lie affects the work that the Senate has to do. Senator Manchin and Capito, what is the truth about the filibuster? What is the truth about H.R. 1? We are your constituents. Yes. We are standing here in the truth. We are standing here for justice. We are standing here in the spirit of good trouble. Which side are you on? Are you with us? Or are you going to recess with a lie? We have always said, glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. His truth is marching on.
Yes.
This is what we're standing on, the truth. We want you to be with us as we march on. I'm going to ask at this time, any of our constituents here who have anything that they would like to say, come on up. Let's hear for all. One up for now. Are you sick of wearing these masks? Are you sick of living like this? If I have to quarantine forever, let's get it together. Get your vaccine and let's get back to living. Come on.
Amen.
Hi, I'm Senator with Rise Up. Okay, as we all hear, elections have consequences. The consequence of the election of 2016 was 400,000 people dying from COVID because what should have been done, basic public health measures, were never taken. And I don't understand why more people are just not, their hair on fire because 400,000 unnecessary deaths. I don't know what the number is in West Virginia, but it's a lot. Elections have consequences. If we are not allowed to vote freely and honestly and openly, you can just say goodbye to health care. You can just say goodbye to the benefits that we need. You can just say the help that is necessary and the opportunities that are necessary for people who are less fortunate than other people. They are gone. So you really need to support Senator Manchin and Senator Capito. They both need to probably either get rid of or modify the filibuster, and you need to vote for the H.R. 1S1 for the People Act. Thank you.
She was there last week.
All right, we've got people here from the military. We have veterans here. I'm telling you, last night I lost a classmate to COVID.
High five.
We're celebrating our 50th anniversary of our high school reunion next week. He won't be here. Should not have become a political issue, but it is a political issue now. So at this time, I'm going to ask Lakeisha, come on down.
Hey, Lakeisha.
Common Defense, let's go.
My name is Lakeisha Lloyd. I am a volunteer member of Common Defense. I had the honor last Tuesday, to meet with Senator Manchin, along with Fred Albert here and some other constituents throughout the United States. I am a United States Army veteran. Due to my time in service, I have PTSD. I suffer from social anxiety, paranoia, hypervigilance. I'm not ashamed to say that, because it came during the time that I was honoring my oath that I made to this country, that I would protect the citizens and the Constitution of the United States. Too many times, veterans are not able to even vote, to exercise their constitutional right because of injuries or disabilities that they have incurred during their time in service. These veterans may not be service-connected disabled. They may not have paperwork. For whatever reason, their claims were denied. They were not able to get in touch with a veteran service officer, who here in the state of West Virginia are far and few between to find. These veterans have not, for whatever reason, the ADA does not apply to them for them to be able to get an absentee ballot based off a disability. Because of this, there are hundreds of thousands of United States veterans, regardless of political affiliation, that are not able to be able to cast the very vote that they fought and served to protect. No excuse absentee ballots and early voting is a necessity.
Yes, it is.
It's a necessity for me.
Yes.
And it's a necessity for every single person. All my brothers and sisters in arms that came before me, who were there during me, and who came after me. We did not have to stand in a line at MEPS to be able to serve our country. We should not have to stand in line to cast our ballot.
That's right.
Woo! Thank you.
Good job.
I appreciate that. I appreciate what you just said. Also, family. But now they want to take away my vote, my children's vote, my family's vote, my community's vote. But guess what? They still want me to pay my taxes. And I think if I'm going to pay my taxes, I should be able to say who is going to make the decisions on how my taxes are spent. I really feel like who is going to have the say? Who are going to be the decision makers? And I think that I should be able to have a say by voting for these people. Let's see, do I have anyone else that's willing to get up here and speak? Come on down. Pass the for the people out.
I'm trying to be short.
Come on over here, they take it.
Okay. My name is Dean Doyle. I'm a family physician from Fayette County. I'm also secretary of the West Virginia Physicians for National Health Program.
Thank you!
We work for Medicare for All. But we know that we can never get that or anything else as long as this filibuster is in place. And we under these filibuster rules. That's got to change. Senator Manchin, that has got to change, and we need you to help us. We also know that we can't get anything if we don't have everybody in this country having a fair chance to vote for H.R. 1. The West Virginians Physicians for National Health Program and the 20,000 members of Physicians for a National Health Program nationally make the passage of H.R. 1 and the John Lewis Act our priority because it's the only way to move our country forward and preserve democracy.
We need to preserve democracy. Preserve democracy. Preserve democracy. Preserve democracy. Senator Capito and Manchin, there's no time for recess. We have to preserve our democracy. It's time to start some good trouble and to preserve our democracy. Do I have someone else that's willing to come forward and speak up for our democracy? Sally, I want you to come up because you have been instrumental, you and Katie, in getting this thing started. We are going to be out here. Katie, come on down. Because I want to let you know this is only a beginning. This is only a beginning for us to encourage Manchin and Capito. We have people all over this country who call West Virginia and say, help us save our democracy. Help us save our vote. Sally, I want you to say something. Hey, close us out.
I just want to say thank you to everyone who gave up their lunch hour. Thank you to those organizations that came and helped us today send a message to Senator Manchin and Senator Capito that democracy cannot wait.